Oh, welcome. Hello.
Before the music even stops, it's great.
Yeah, that's right. Jump right in. Jump right in. Both Hobbit feet first.
Yeah, we have another bonusode. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
This is
gosh.
your Halloween-isode.
Hello.
Halloween-assance.
How are you doing today? You, co-host?
I'm great. It's Halloween.
I know.
It's the spookiest day of the year. Well, let's hope.
You know.
And it is for people to dress up and eat candy. Not that people haven't done that.
Yeah, I mean,
earlier, but
describing like a Tuesday for me.
No, but you know, it's not on a weekend, so lots of people are probably already partied out. But it is officially Halloween, and we officially have a bonusode. And
all of these things are official. We had them notarized.
We are going to give you some great ideas in this special bonusode, which is a movie marathon with snacks.
With food and drink pairings. Why not?
Yeah, we're going to give you like a couple of themed movie marathons that you can choose from. And you can pair it up with the snacks that we suggest.
Listen up, all you lonely dorks. Just sit at home and watch 9 hours worth of movies and eat. That's what I'm going to do. It's
or 12
fantastic.
Hours. It depends on how many recommendations we have.
Exactly. Who can say? Well,
but
we
you
can.
You could do it over a weekend.
Yeah. Or just, you want to just.
Just because
binge.
November's coming tomorrow doesn't mean that you can't still watch horror movies. So you can watch these anytime.
I would argue.
We thought we'd get them in just in time for Halloween.
Thanksgiving holidays are way scarier gatherings than
they
Halloween.
Can be.
More intimidating.
But you can watch these anytime and pack in the snacks anytime.
Without judgment from that one uncle you see never. Anyway, let's talk about movie marathons. Who's going to go first?
I'll go first.
Oh, that was easy.
So what I did for you all is I created 2 packages, themed packages of little movie marathons you could know and love.
Special delivery.
My first package is Home Invasions.
Just delivered straight to your door.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
Delivered straight to your eye socket.
Yeah.
My first is going to be Funny Games. I don't care which one.
It's
1997 or 2007. They were both written and directed by Michael Haneke.
Lighthearted jaunts. Fun. But have the kids, have grandma over.
I'm really going to sort of, talk about the 1997 one.
It's the better one.
Starring Susan Lother and Ulrich Miu. And basically what we have here is a husband, wife, and their son at their lakeside fancy home. 2 men dressed all in white, like polo whites, show up, Peter and Paul, and they're weirdos. There's eggs. There's violence. And
eggs
there's
and
torture.
Violence. Eggs and violence.
Yeah.
Eggs and violence.
And there's torture. And it's really like, how snooty and welcoming are you going to be? And when are you going to realize that this doesn't end well for you?
It's terrifying because they take advantage of their hospitality and like it's
purposefully,
like,
though.
Yeah,
That's the whole intention is.
Like in movies when someone pretends that they're injured and then they murder the person that helps them. I hate that. Because I would be the one to stop and be like, "Oh, are you okay?"
Yeah.
And I'm fucking dead.
So what we're gonna eat and drink with this film is you're gonna have tea sandwiches.
Oh, very preppy.
Very delicately crust cut off.
Very demure.
Cream cheese and cucumber, a little salmon salad with watercress, and you're gonna have iced tea lemonades.
Iced tea lemonades?
Yes.
The old half and half?
Yeah, the old half and half.
And has no other name.
Nope. Maybe you can throw a little Bloody Mary in there for if you're feeling a little spicy, but that's really personal preference.
Can I hijack your thing for 2 seconds? An epiphany I just had?
Sure.
So Michael Haneke remade this movie that he did in English. And it wasn't as good for some reason, even though it was basically the same. It had a great cast. And then we have this year Speak No Evil, which is a remake. American from a Dutch and Danish movie, another Dutch movie about the perils of being too polite. And I think the reason it doesn't translate to an American audience is we are not a polite people. These movies are about what happens when you're super polite and you don't speak up for yourself. But Americans are brash and rude and loud. And I feel like
it's more pandering to the audience.
Well, the audience being American, being like, I would never be this fucking polite. 2 seconds in, I would tell this asshole, like, what are you fucking doing? And honestly, most Americans would.
I think in the Americanized versions, it seems like it's over-explained and over-revealed.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm sorry. Hijack done.
So my next is The Strangers from 2008, written and directed by Brian Bertino, starring Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler. And what we have here is a couple who may or may not make it as a couple. And so we sort of start to root for them, that they can find a way to stay together. But a knock at the door by some weird woman asking for someone who doesn't live there, followed by many masked people that start to stalk around the house and end up inside the house. I guess answers the question on whether or not these characters are going to eventually get married. Spoiler alert, they're not.
But not for lack of love.
No. So what we're going to have here is leftover wedding cake.
That's sad.
And cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. That's the pairing for that film.
Yeah, that's life, kids.
If you don't smoke cigarettes, then, I don't know, have candy cigarettes.
No, that's life. If you don't smoke cigarettes, you're smoking these cigarettes.
My next film of the home invasion is You're Next from 2011 and one of your favorite, Adam Wingard, right?
Yeah, he's great.
So this is starring Sharni Vincent, Joe Swanberg, and AJ Bowen, and you also said Ty.
Yeah, director Ty West.
Mm-hmm.
From X, the X trilogy, and others. House of the Devil.
So this starts with a murder, ends with some murders, and
Murders
there's a bunch of murders in between.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's a family gathering, extended family, exes, relationships, new wife, new girlfriend, all around a big, elaborate dinner that's interrupted by really well done, masked, woodland type, very violently wielding weaponed killers.
Couldn't have said it better.
And so what is interesting about this film is lots of twists you don't see coming, and it's pretty well done.
It's a great movie.
It's remote. You don't really understand why this is happening, which I think happens with a lot of home invasions. Why of it.
Honestly, it makes a good double watch with Ready or Not.
Yeah, it does. But for this pairing, it's going to be a Thanksgiving feast. And maybe some sangria or some sort of like hot wine, mulled cider.
Yeah, or like a nice butterball turkey you could fire a crossbow into.
But something that is like hunted and gathered
some fowl.
And feasting and mulled cider as well.
Moldy cider.
My last recommendation is a movie from 2016 from our beloved, written and directed by Mike Flanagan, called Hush.
Hi, Mike and Kate. Love your Halloween pictures.
Starring Katie Seagal or Seagal. I'm not really sure how.
I believe it is Seagal. Kate Seagal is Sons of Anarchy and Married with Children.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. Also
amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
So Kate Seagal,
Kate Seagal, both of you, classy ladies.
But this one is Kate Seagal.
It is.
Caw.
Exactly. That's how I always remember it.
Not spelled Seagal.
No. Anyway, moving on.
So basically Maddie, she's deaf and mute, a writer's block, lives remotely in a house with like lots of windows. And this masked assailant starts to stalk her and use her disability against her. But little does he know that she has heightened senses. She's trained in self-defense, and she also has weapons. Yeah. So she does end up being a contender.
My favorite thing about this movie, and it's a real Mike Flanagan flavor, is once the killer discovers that she can't hear, he's like, oh, he changes plans. Like, he's not going to quickly kill her. He's going to be a real dick about it.
Yeah.
Because she's, in his eyes, like easy prey, which she is not.
So for this pairing, you're going to have hush puppies because they're so quiet.
Aw.
And you're also going to make hot chocolate, but only on the stove. You don't use a tea kettle for this one.
No.
It's like steeped milk on in a little pot.
Unless you're using the tea kettle as like a distraction, and then when they look at it, you smash them with a
But you have to have mini
pan.
marshmallows. That's really important to like
quiet.
snuff out the sound.
If you could put a bunch on the bottom of your shoes, and then no one will hear you coming.
But also eggs. Eggs all around.
Eggs for everyone.
So whenever you're having this movie marathon for home invasion, it's lots and lots of eggs. Deviled eggs, egg salad, omelets. You can even make a pasta salad or a macaroni salad with sliced eggs on the top.
When we're talking home invasions and demon seed, we go real heavy with the egg metaphor.
With these particular films, eggs are involved.
Eggs. From my son, the chef. That's neat.
So what's yours?
Goodness. So I obviously, the first thing I want to do when I think about food is watch body horror. That's the genre that easily makes me the hungriest and, if we're being honest, horniest. So I'm going to be starting off with one of the greats, the classics. I'm not going to get too into it because there is an amazing podcast episode from Terror in Tandem about this movie. Yes, it's 1986, The Fly, directed by master of goop, David Cronenberg. So yeah, long story short, Seth Brundle is working on what he hopes is a teleportation device. It turns out it's actually a gene splicing machine, and he splices his genes with a fly and gets all disgusting with it. So it's amazing. It's Jeff Goldblum is incredible, Gina Davis is incredible, and it is just an all-around classic. So here's the thing. Anyone who's watched it knows that Seth Brundle has kind of a unique way of eating as the fly. So I'm going to save you the trouble, folks. Instead of having to, vomit stomach acid on your food first to melt it and then suck it up through your proboscis, I'm just going to get you started with some applesauce with cinnamon. Real nice, easy on the tummy. It goes down smooth. It's already gooped up for you. To drink, a blood orange mimosa with extra pulp. Like, seriously, more pulp than you think is necessary. Like a real clot of
like
pulp.
Not even juice.
Yeah, mostly like blood orange mimosa stew. And pop a couple antacids in there for the old tum-tums. And that is the fly pairing. So after you're done with that, and you've given yourself an hour before jumping into the pool, why not check out 2008's Slither, the directorial debut of now master of DC, James Gunn. This is a horror comedy, pretty straightforward plot. It's a meteorite, parasites, infected people in a town, goopy shit coming out of them. So it's got Nathan Fillion, Jenna Fisher from The Office, and Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer himself, Michael motherfucking Rooker, who's in every James Gunn movie. And honestly, that's fine. He should be in more movies. He should be in all the movies. Now, this movie is hilarious. It's also pretty gross. It's slithery. It's a great name. Everything in this movie slithers. There's, all sorts of really gross, wormy, slimy body things. So anyway, for food, we're going just real simple, a nice big bowl of gummy worms and gushers. Because, duh, it's basically everything in this movie is a gummy worm and a gusher coming out of someone. If not an existing orifice, then creating one and then coming out of that. So...
Yum.
For a drink, something to drink on the side, I'm just going to go with a steaming bowl of beef stew. Just have a drink. Put it in, actually not in a bowl, in a high glass. Just pour it out, extra hot, bubbling beef stew with the bathtub scene in Slither. So that's number 2. And now after you've finished your number two, and you've opened up some room for yourself, we're going all the way back, even further before The Fly, to 1985. You remember that, folks? 1985? Folks? Remember? Anyway, let's just play music for 45 minutes. So I'm going to talk about Stuart Gordon's Reanimator. Oh, yeah. really into the horror comedies here because there's just something funny about body horror and food. Now, this is a loose adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's Herbert West, Reanimator, who is, someone who basically, his title says it all. He's reanimating things that were previously unanimated. So it's brought to you by Stuart Gordon and Brian Yuzna, who really, for me, made the 90s worth living through. It rules. It's chock full of stupid humor. I mean, there's the famous, giving head scene. Everybody knows that, but it's got legendary Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton. It's really irreverent and stupid and gross and hilarious and awesome. And it's a classic, and it has 2 sequels that are both pretty good. And this really, it's fun to see a young Jeffrey Combs, with those jet black eyes of his. Anyway.
Are they called reanimators?
No, there's Bride of Reanimator and then something else. I don't remember. I'm sad I don't remember because I have seen it, but whatever. We're having fun. So
you are. I'm not. I'm not going to eat and watch these.
For food, we're going to have a delicious hog's head cheese sandwich. Mayo, bacon, lettuce, tomato, and some motherfucking head cheese. You know why? You know why.
Ew. That's disgusting.
And to drink, we're going to have an appletini because it's nice and green. And it looks exactly like the stuff that's in the serum that reanimates things. Appletini. If you want to have a non-alcoholic version, I guess an Ecto Cooler from the High C, if they still make those.
I feel like they rebooted that at some point.
I'm sure. I mean, it's like diabetes juice. So
I'm sure there's a Gatorade too.
Something green. Appletinis. I like appletinis. They're kind of good.
They are.
I mean, they're better than regular martinis. Those are gnarly.
Yeah, they really are.
So that is Goops with Snacks.
Nice.
Yeah. And now over to you for something I'm hoping equally as slimy.
No. Well, it can be because your brain. It's psychological horror.
Oh, brains are slimy?
They are. But
Mine
it could also
especially.
be your emotions, which can be really wet.
Moist emotion.
My next grouping is psychological horror. And I'm going to start out with 2010's Black Swan.
Oh, man. Yeah. Wow. Interesting, because I figured none of them ate anything.
Well, I'll get to that. So it's directed by Darren Aronofsky, starring Natalie Portman, Mila Kunis, and Vincent Cassel.
Mila Kunis being as scary as I believe she is in real life.
It's really, a reimagining of Swan Lake.
Yeah.
But very dark, very much in the world of ballerina psychology and psychopathy. It exposes tumultuous relationships between pressure to be the best ballerina and your physical capacity to be a ballerina.
It really makes you, as the audience member, feel guilty about what you're consuming. When you're watching a ballet, do you really consider the privations that these people put their bodies through? Right.
Also, what happens too is in Swan Lake, there is a white swan and a black swan, and the duality there. Darren Aronofsky does a really good job with the duality of Nina, the Natalie Portman character.
And the costuming is incredible.
And the break of her psyche.
That mask that she wears.
Yes.
Oh.
So it also side stars Barbara Hershey and Winona Ryder. We can't forget about those amazing women.
Just a quick adulation for Barbara Hershey's incredible third act of her career. She's been fucking slamming it out of the park for the last 60 years, but especially lately, she's in so much good shit.
Yes.
Strange Darling, everybody.
We're going to have grapefruit and water with lemon. We're also going to have, at the end of this film, just a cheeseburger and fries.
Oh, yeah.
So throughout the film, you just sip on water with lemon and maybe a grapefruit. And then at the end, you just binge on a cheeseburger and fries.
Why not? Yeah, why not? It's all gone. It's all gone now.
My next recommendation, which I don't have the year stupidly in my notes, but you'll fill that in, is The Babadook. Written and directed by Jennifer Kent.
Which is 2014 that I pulled out of my head.
Starring Essie Davis and Noah Wiseman.
And a special shout out to Noah Wiseman for playing a real difficult kid.
Yes,
Boy,
did
does
a really
he do
great
a good job.
Samuel.
Complicated feelings.
Yes. So Samuel and Amelia, she's a grieving widow. He's a difficult child, as we said. And Samuel starts to be real trouble. Has insomnia, has an imaginary monster, the Babadook. Amelia finds a book. They start to confront this monster. She feeds the monster. They coexist in this whole like grief cycle together.
Incredible design.
It's incredible design. It's scary until
Jennifer
you figure
Kent
out what
is
happens.
A world-class director.
It definitely deals with grief and trauma in a really interesting way. And what you're going to have with this is you're going to have a nice, hearty, like Australian, right? Australian?
It is Australian, yes.
A nice, hearty Australian soup, like a potato leek or a pea and ham, which is the national soup of Australia.
I mean, mate.
And you're going to have a nice stale loaf of bread. They didn't have a lot of money. So you're just going to have what's on hand.
Oh, this bread's a bit stale, isn't it?
You dip it in the bread.
That was terrible.
One of the things you're going to have, though, is gummy worms for dessert. You're going to have so many gummy worms.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of gummy worms.
They're worms, Michael.
And my last psychological horror for this movie marathon is Get Out from 2017. Written and directed by Jordan Peele, starring Daniel Kaluuya, Allison Williams, Bradley Whitford, Catherine Keener, and Lakeith Stanfield. And basically, a couple goes to meet the parents, and what looks like a white majority Christian nationalist garden party turns out to be a very much what I just said it was. Hypnosis takes charge, paralysis happens, brain transplants are being discussed.
Yeah.
And the sunken place is introduced. This, you're going to eat iced scones or scones. You're going to have iced tea. And then you're going to have some hot tea with lemon. And it's very important that you have it in a nice china cup.
Oh, yes.
With a metal spoon. And some sugar cubes, maybe, if you're feeling nasty. So that's my psychological horror movie marathon.
Oh, God, I feel so fucked with.
Yes, you should.
So
what a random menu.
Listen, my next one is...
Soup and scones for everyone.
It's a little fancier. The movies are trashy, but the snacks are...
Dashy?
Molto bene. So
this is our time to say we are sponsored by DoorDash.
Hello. No, we're not.
Hello, fresh DoorDash.
Now my next is Jello. Jello. Hey.
Are you gonna have us eat Jello?
No, it's not Jello. It's Giallo.
I know, but shouldn't you have like?
No. So now Giallo is
sandwiches?
I wouldn't, because it's an Italian word for yellow and has nothing to do with gelatin.
I know, but I'm just having fun with it.
I'm having a great time too. So Giallo, as we all know, is the Italian subgenre. Came out in the 60s and had its heyday in the 70s and 80s of just sort of, slashers. It's Italian slashers, but with like a sexy, weird twist. They're always a little bit subversive. Usually involve lots of ladies getting murdered. And it's just the word for yellow because that is sort of the tint of a lot of these movies.
For yellow?
Yellow.
You said yellow.
Anyway, let me yellow batch at you.
Yellow.
I'm going to start my Giallo collection with 1971's A Bay of Blood, directed by Mario Bava, one of the godfathers of the genre. So A Bay of Blood is very famous, at least to me, and I know to many others, as being the movie that was completely ripped off for Friday the 13th. Every kill in the movie is not like given homage to, like it's straight up the same. So in this movie, Albert and Renata play the shitty entitled yuppie fuckers who have a lakeside house and they want all of the properties. So they do what any normal person would do and just start murdering all the neighbors in increasingly horrible ways. Like, look, if you want to just like fuck someone out of real estate, like you don't need to spear them through their bed. But they do. So anyway, it's a great movie. Bay of Blood. I love it. It's very... Bava started his career in black and white, but when he moved over to color, his use of color saturation was just magnificent, and it's really well done in this. Now, keeping to that, we're going to have a little bruschetta. So we've got sliced bread, sliced tomatoes, sliced mozzarella, and sliced neighbors. It's going to be slicey.
And there's like wet tomatoes.
Yeah.
Don't forget the wet tomatoes.
Everything is wet and everything comes sliced. We're going to mandolin the shit out of this. Now, the other thing, the drink that we're having is a nice blood red Negroni. Bitter, just like the avarice and covetousness of shitty neighbors who kill you over property. So it's also red, like a Bay of Blood would be if it was filled with blood.
Yeah.
Now, moving along, we are heading into the 80s. Specifically 1982 for another Jello Master. I know you really want me to just say Jello Master.
Yeah, I want to eat Jello and jelly.
I know. So Dario Argento's Tenebrae. Yeah, this one's good, y'all. So Tenebrae is about this American author in Italy named Peter Neal, and he's going on a book tour, and at the same time someone is killing people just the same way they do in his books. So that's bad. And it's got a really, really cool performance by Anthony Franciosa as Peter Neal, and one of my all-time favorite twist endings. I did not see this coming. It really got me when it happened, and I just thought it was so fucking well done. It's also one of Goblin's best soundtracks for sure. Anyway, Tenebrae. So about a writer, killers, blah, blah. It's very Stephen King. I mean, you can kind of see Stephen King, The Dark Half. He writes about a lot of stuff like this, and this is sort of around the same time period. So to pair with Tenebrae, because Tenebrae is the Latin word for darkness, we're going to have Venere risotto with artichoke. And that is, Venere risotto is black forbidden rice risotto. I did say it was going to be a little fancy. No, I was going to go squid ink, but I thought, why not the black rice itself? It's a little nutty. It's a nice aroma. I don't know how to explain food. I'm a gorilla. So it's Venere risotto, and to drink a limoncello vodka spritzer with a twist of lemon. Mm-hmm. Get it?
Yeah.
Twist.
Limoncello.
Well, and a twist.
Yeah.
Because at the end there's a twist. Anyway, my last one is by a guy who, in my mind, wasn't typically a giallo director. He usually directed much more supernatural stuff, including his Gate-style trilogy. Of course, I'm talking about my personal favorite, Lucio Fulci, and his early film, 1972's Don't Torture a Duckling, which don't. So this this movie's nuts. It's a Fulci movie, so it's like completely fucking bonkers. It's a story about this Italian, kind of rural town, and these boys are getting murdered. But there's also a witch and a weird priest and this slutty girl that like plays with herself in front of the town simpleton. And it's a lot. So it is pretty awesome because it all turns out that beloved Don Alberto, the town priest, is actually the one who's murdering these boys before they can grow up to become men, because men are sinners.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it has to do with ducklings, but don't torture them. And, yeah, it was, 1972, talking about Italian Catholic priests hurting children. It's crazy with the ideas some people come up with. Anyway, to eat, we're going to have a little duck crostini, because I don't feel like I need to explain that. It's duck. It's a crostini. It's Italian. I just want you to humanely slaughter the duck. Do not torture the duck before you put it on the crostini. And for a drink, we're having everyone's favorite famous cocktail. Yes, that is the Alaskan duck fart. Now, the Alaskan duck fart, I feel like I should explain.
Yeah,
was created in 1987 by a bartender and what I could only find out was a drunk old woman in the bar called the Peanut Farm. And it is Kahlua, Bailey's, and Crown Royale, making a 3-tiered layered shot that honestly doesn't sound bad.
terrible.
Yeah, right? Like kind of it sounds rich and a duck crostini and this shot is definitely going to fill you up.
Are you putting any like plum sauce or something on the duck crostini? Because that's
absolutely. Whatever if I've never had duck crostini, I've also never tortured ducklings. So I'm kind of going out on a limb here and speaking to an audience that maybe I'm not a part of, but I want to be inclusive. So duck crostini, and fart that duck first. Get yourself a delicious drink out of it.
Yeah, or fart it after.
Absolutely. Now giallo, I realize I should have had you eat more yellow things, but limoncello's yellow. Limoncello's yellow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Mellow yellow.
They call me that, quite rightly. And I'm very excited that we have now given you oodles of movies and
oodles of noodles. I mean,
so
you
much
could have, listen, you could just cheap out and just have some like ramen noodles of any flavor.
Really but make sure that they're cold. Cook them and then put them in the fridge. Make sure they're cold. Put a bunch of like garlicky sauce in there and eat them with your hands.
Well, for the body horror, that would work.
Yeah. Smear it on yourself first, Yeah. Definitely go like full video drum with it.
The psychological horror, you could just have cup noodles.
I love cup noodles.
Yeah.
God, cup noodles are great.
So whatever you decide to eat and watch, we hope that you do it after you've listened to more Terror in Tandem. That's always a recommendation.
Yeah. Absolutely. And listen, anytime you're watching body horror is a good time to eat. I'm just going to say that.
Never a good time to eat.
I'm just going to say that.
I'm not going to say it. Never going to agree.
You don't have to because I did.
Make sure if you're watching psychological horror, you have those tissues.
For crying, of course.
Yeah, you're gross. Happy Halloween! Terror in Tandem is written, produced, and recorded by Laura and Richard Mathiasen, and edited and mixed by Richard Mathiasen. Our Octerrorfest theme and all other music was written and performed by David Suspanic. All opinions expressed on this podcast are our own and should be taken as such. Thanks for listening, and please remember to give us a like, a review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you do, we promise not to haunt you.